for about 2 hours today. Like we're giving you guys a lot. So I want to make sure you guys are on the edge of your seats. You have your notes, something to drink. We're prepared. We're ready. I see it. I see you. Awesome, Bethany. So who's this for? Right. So ultimately, this is for the impact coach, right? You've known deep inside from a very young age that you were here for more, and where society has told you you're
You got
crazy.
lucky. That was a loose day.
I'm just gonna mute everyone, and I super love you.
There you go.
Perfect.
Wait, I thought one isn't muting everyone.
I don't know. I'm just gonna keep going and roll with it. So society has told you you're crazy and you don't fit in. We're here to tell you that that is the whole point, that this is your purpose. You aren't here to belong, here to fit in. And with each client that you serve, you're honored that you get to be the much needed light in this world. So quantum impact and evolution is inevitable for you. It's why you're a coach. It's why you're an entrepreneur. It's why making an impact is what we're all here for. We defy logic and we refuse mediocrity. And we believe that energetics and alignment create the groundwork through which we run our business and create our strategies and ultimately change the world. Because when you're aligned with your gifts, you show up authentic, you show up self-expressed and fully in your power. So let's get ready. Let's get ready to be unleashed into your purpose and really build this wealth and abundance and make the contribution that you were made for. I truly believe that coaches are the driving force of transformation in the world, and we always will be. We are the quantum impact that this world so desperately needs today. So who is this not for? This is not for the coach who's just here for the money. Like, oh, coaching sounds cool. We can live this life and it's all about me. This webinar or this training is not for you. Cool.
And so one of the things we want to look at is like, we're going to give you guys some really powerful stuff. So I need a buy-in on that you'll only use this for good. So there is a chat at the bottom. So I need a yes, that you'll use this, what we're going to teach you, only for good, only for empowering, only for making a difference, only for impact in really transforming your clients.
Yes.
So we got 2, 3, Martin, Cheryl, awesome. Tim,
yes, absolutely. Yes.
Bethany,
of
course.
Cool.
Awesome. We got a couple. Let's keep it going. We have a bunch of people here. We need everyone. Clifford, awesome.
I will say, the more you participate, this isn't just us talking. We're gonna, like, I really want you guys to get something and be a part and be in a conversation. So definite maybe. Okay. All right. Well, Coach Papa, we know who you are at heart, so I'm going to say that's a definite yes.
Awesome.
All right. So who are we, and why should you even listen to us? So some of you guys know who you are, who know who we are. Some of you guys do not. This is your first one, so welcome, and I'm great to meet you.
I'm just curious, like, who's been on a previous training of ours? Give us a yes, and if you haven't yet, then drop it in the comments so we can get an idea of feel of like who's here.
First one, welcome Bethany. Welcome Chris.
Awesome. Newbie here. Awesome.
Mark, TMLP, yes. Previous training as well. I appreciate you. Newbie here.
I need more chat.
We appreciate that. We love you too. All right. So do you want to tell them? You tell the story so good about.
Yeah. So 4 years ago now, we are living in all right. So we're living in my mom's house in Michigan, and we're going to go nomadic and go travel. So we go down, we're like hopping around Florida, staying in Airbnbs, doing our thing. And we actually went to a training, a leadership training with, our coaches. And like, we went to this amazing training and we came back and we checked our account and we're like, holy shit, we're out of money. Who's ever had a holy shit moment in your life? So we actually call our accountant at the time, and she's like, I want to see you guys. Like, I don't care what it takes. Come see me in Orlando. That was our like next place. We're gonna just come see her. And she's like, and we're like, this is the situation. We have no money, and we're kind of in a rough patch, and our like business is kind of dried up. And so she's like, come stay with me as long as you want. And you have an office space that you guys can run the business. But you get to stay in my grandson, 13-year-old. He was actually older, but I think he was
Anyways,
13,
teenager,
13-year-old
gross
kids,
kids,
smelly
bedroom,
bedroom.
dishes, trash. You guys get the picture of this is where we're at.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's where we're at. And we're working our freaking face off, right? Like every day, Holly's actually taking on another potential job situation where she's doing sales, and then I'm selling our, these systems and funnels, and like
I'm creating the
and then
systems
she's
and funnels.
creating that systems and funnels. And then one day I remember her standing against a wall and just sliding down the wall. And then she fell over and started convulsing. And I'm like, oh shit, what's happening? And I'm like freaked out at the moment. And so we call the EMS, we call 911, and they were coming in. She's like, does she do any drugs? And at the time she was using cannabis for pain. And so they're like, oh, she must be just on drugs or whatever. And so we go tonight, like they take her to the ER, and they basically gave her a bag of electrolytes and do some tests, and then just kind of let her go. And then that created for the next 6 months of like constant seizures, like nonstop, like up to 17 a day, to the point where, like, I remember going to an event, like in the process of we're going to an event, and this is like,
no excuses, guys.
No excuses. I don't know. It was dumb. I authentically, but we go to this event, and we had these clients that like were coming to the event. So we started turning around the money thing. So we're still getting money, but we're still having seizures, and we're still working on like getting this figured out. But we have all kinds of clients, right? We have you want to talk about this a little bit?
Yeah. So what we were doing, we were really running an agency, and we were working with everyone. Like we worked with knee pain doctors, hair restoration guys, chiropractors, house addition people in Europe, their house additions or home extensions. Who else did we work with? Dental, like every industry of every kind. And honestly, it was super boring to me. Like I'm all for chiropractic work. It's saved my life. And to write copy about it, or like to write copy about knee pain, and I'm doing these, like, I was like, oh my gosh, I took my dream and I created a job, and I was miserable. And once we got, we do a whole integrity exercise that we're not going to do today, but ultimately what got us getting clients again was working through our integrity and restoring integrity in our life. And then it was like a pour in of people, and it just slammed me down. So we went to this event, and while we were at this event, we heard the most transforming quote. So it was perfect. We were supposed to be there, but it was by Steve Farber. And he said, do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. And man, we got really clear that we needed to transform how we did things, because it was starting to affect me big time.
Yeah.
And so we went in and we went on the whiteboard, and we're like, do what you love in the service of people who love what you do. All right, well, what is it that we love, and who do we love working? Like, who is that person? And the clients that we also worked with, they were coaches, they were speakers.
Mm-hmm.
We were meeting with a publicist, and she was a brain, like a specialist in performance and neuroscience, and like she was just freaking incredible. And every time I talked to these people after the conversation, I was lit up. I was like on fire for what it was that they're doing. Like, that's the funnels I want to do. That's the product. Those are the people I want to lift up, because they're freaking powerful and they're incredible in what they're up to. And I got my fire coming back. And however, those seizures and everything were just still going what they were doing. And I had a really big one.
I jump in here. So I went out with a couple friends for my birthday in April, right? So went from November to April. This is how long this was happening. And I came back, and Holly was unconscious, still seizing. And I have no idea how long she had been seizing, to the point where when I'm dumping CBD down her throat and electrolytes, and because we knew that the electrolytes helped, and I'm doing mouth to mouth, so it's getting really messy. And I remember her coming out of it and going, where are we? And then she asked, who are you? And my stomach just freaking dropped. And it was like the person I love more than anything, not knowing who I was, or had any past with us at all. She actually didn't know who she was. She didn't know like that she had kids. She didn't know any of it. And so after that, we literally had to kind of rebuild her from scratch. And there was a point where I had to explain what we do for a living. And she's like, well, it obviously isn't working because we're still living with your mom, right? And so like
Truth though, I mean,
right. So I'm like, well, if you were having seizures, I'm like, how do I explain this? But yeah, so it's like this is obviously our business isn't working. And then so she got to go down and look at like, okay, we worked with these clients and they've gotten amazing results. And we worked with these clients and they haven't got as good results. And it's like, what is the difference between these?
yeah, I think the real blessing was I didn't have all of the stories attached because, as you go through life, we have these stories that are attached, but I literally, like, it wasn't there. It was just like clear. And so as I was just going in deep research, I was going through Facebook, I was going through my computer and the pictures that we had and Google Docs that we had made. And I'm just putting all of these pieces. My brain is just like, I don't know, just putting all of this stuff together. Like, oh, when this client did this, they got good results. But when they did this, like I was just putting the processes and systems together and seeing the patterns and seeing where was missing and what was needed to be added. And it created the entire model that we're going to share with you today, and how we put this together.
So who wants to see the model that
Okay.
she came up with that it, really is taking, we've had one client, she went from offline coach, losing 70% of her clientele when she attempted to go online to landing $138,000 in clients in 1 month. One client doing $0 to $17,000 in 40 days, and he had no idea online coaching was a thing. When he didn't understand that was even a option. And then having, we had Tilda, she was struggling to do $2,000 a month and now is running a mastermind for, what is it, 20,000, 15,000, something like that for the year, and has several women in it and is consistently certifying coaches on a regular basis. We had Seth, where he was, doing pretty well, like $8,000 a month, but like thinking that the tech and the scaling and ads was his solution. And he, when he figured out what this model was really the solution, he landed $73,000 worth of clients in 2 weeks. So who wants to see the model?
Yep.
I think you direct message somebody.
No, I didn't.
Oh, they direct. Okay. So using the chat.
Yes,
here.
please.
Yes.
Show us. Go ahead. Yes.
I'm not seeing the enthusiasm in the chat.
Yes. There you go, Princess.
Okay,
Bring it.
All right. So I'm on a laptop, so this is going to be a little wonky. I'm not going to lie. All right. So
my microphone's better on my laptop. So do you want to actually use black?
Yes.
I just want to make sure that that's clear for everybody.
Okay. Well,
undo.
I know. Undo.
I know you do. You're like the pro.
There we go. All
right. So if you're taking notes, take notes along with us. We're going to go through this and use this. We'll come back to it more at the end as well.
Yep. And if this takes a little bit longer from my drawing, if you want to just keep talking while I do this, because laptop track things are not my favorite.
Your forte.
Forte.
So we started this ultimately, like really what is it that we're out for, right? And I believe really what we're out for, if we could sum it up into one word, is really this abundance and having this full abundant life, right? For ourselves, for our clients. And what is abundance, right? That's a really big word. Abundance is having freedom, having the freedom for our life. We get to choose when our schedule is. We get to choose the clients that we work with. We get to choose that. Having the impact with other people, right? We're not here just for ourselves. We're here for the whole experience, for the collective, to impact other people, as well as have this freedom in our life. And then also the profit, right? Because the worker is worth his wages. And we can have, like, the more profit that we make, we can bring this contribution into the world. Now, in order to do that online, it's going to take a few things. It's going to take being able to attract people. It's taking those people that you attract and enrolling them into something and delivering it. We'll break down what these are. And then it's going to take really this transformation process within yourself. Like, this is an inner journey. Your business will only grow as far as you do. It's just how it is. Right. So to break it down, like, how do you attract these people? And again, I know we're going through this kind of fast, but in order to attract, you have your impact messaging, making sure your messaging is on and you're talking to people in a way that really resonates for them. It's building a community and having this space where people get to know you and they can come together for something greater. It's having content that really dives deep into their soul and they can feel it's like these unspoken truths and they're like, this person gets me. How do we create that? Right. And then once we have that and we're attracting people, now it's about the enrollment process. So having something to enroll them in, right? We like to refer it as an evergreen transformational experience that we're putting together for our clients. You have an empowered client pathway. And this is why you guys are all here. And we're going to dive deeper into this today, but we wanted to show you the whole picture of the whole process of everything that it takes. We're not holding anything back. And the next part is your group success. Once you enroll them, we want to make sure that we're really giving value to your clients, that they're really having a transformational experience, that this was the best investment that they ever made. So now this transforming piece, this is knowing, having processes and systems of knowing exactly what you're doing every single day. We call it the 1, 2, 3s. Doing all of this process in alignment with who you are at soul level. You're in your gifts, you're in aligned with your values, you're aligned with your body. Like, it's all in alignment and you're in your highest, only, like, when I say unleashed, I'm talking like highest self-expression. You're out there powerful in the world and starting to create this life of leverage. Like, how do you create leverage in your life so you can start having that freedom? It is a transformation as you start discovering how to do new and different ways of doing that. So this is the whole picture. Again, we're going to come back to this at the end, and as we have time, go through a little bit more of this. But what we're going to really focus in on today is this. You want to maybe circle?
Yeah, do a circle.
There you go. Is this empowered client attraction process? So now, do you want to tell them about John?
Yeah, so we had a client, John, that was amazing at this aspect of it, especially the community. Community is his jam, right? The guy could put
throw a community together.
He could put 1,000 people into a group
Easy.
like overnight, right? Like, this guy, he was like one of the best people for building community that I've ever seen. And his messaging, he really created this amazing culture and like this connectedness in his communities, and people loved him and his content was great, right? The challenge is that he was missing really like all of this aspect. But I don't know about his group success, but definitely these two was a missing, right? He didn't have a process to take people from interested to client, right? And so I'm curious here, who has like a community or who gets great engagement, but it's like moving them from engager to client is like, what is the, what's the thing there, right? And so I'm just curious on who's in that. Yeah, Krista, definitely you are the you're going to be a great case study too. Herding squirrels, that's good. Yes. So who would be interested to really have this process? And it's like, it's the attracting and it's the whole process, but it's, so who wants to see our process for this, our client attraction pathway?
Krista's got her hands up.
Let's get
I love the sloth.
some yeses in the thing. Working on building community, following solid brand. Awesome.
Yes. Awesome.
So we got some hands raised. All right. Let's get into the next thing. Figure out what the next thing is.
You want to clear that out?
Yes. I'll just boom.
So let's go through first what the majority of people do online when they're going to get new clients.
Yes. And maybe you've seen this, right? If you've ever seen somebody say like, and maybe this could be you, nothing's wrong, right?
It's all awareness.
And again, my drawings are going to be awesome.
For sure.
Learning track pads. He's going to be a little chubbier than normal, maybe. It's all good. Boom. This guy, he's like a triple chin.
Again, body love. He's perfect. Exactly where he's at.
All right, good. I'm worried about your health, bro. All right. So you have this offer, right? The box is the offer. And so people run around and they're like dropping offers on people's heads all day long. They're like, let's jump on a call. 297 breakthrough session. Let's jump on, only $50. Let's do a free breakthrough and jump on. They're constantly just pitching to work with them. They're selling the working with you, like whatever that looks like. There's people out there that are just dropping the hammer. We'll
keep going.
So they're just constantly selling the offer. And so what this does is it makes people feel like hey, I'm not there yet, or it pushes people away, right?
Instant wall, right?
Instant wall.
And the second you know that you're being sold to, what do? Like, hold on.
Yes. I'm curious on like if anybody's ever experienced this where somebody's just they're going straight for the sale. Instead of actually getting to know you. This is why people don't like cold DMs. Now, the other option that people do, and this might be you, is this is value.
Sales is service, though, Shirley? Yes, continue.
Right. So it's value. You're just putting out all kinds of value, and like you're like, well, if I put out enough value, they'll come to me and they'll just show up and they'll like want to work with me, right? You're like hoping for somebody.
I am attracting everything to me. Everyone just shows up and they reach out to me, and this is amazing. And I will say, like, it can be that way. The issue comes when you're scaling and you're like looking to really build like a real sustainable, predictable business. If you're just like hoping that you're going to just put all this value out into the world, never mind how exhausting this eventually is going to get for you. This is the road to burnout for sure. And it doesn't give you a clear numbers of anything that's predictable to be able to create sustainability.
Yeah, because that's who actually wants to have predictability and consistency in their business. I'm curious, like if that's something that you're looking for. Yes, predictability.
Yeah.
Yes. Awesome. So let's break down our.
Yep. Oh yes, definitely. Yep, that's me. Give it. They will come.
Yeah,
and some do, right? Because I won't say.
Oh, some will.
Some will. It's just how do you scale that?
Well, it's also this. It's like if you do this right here, and you get
quality content. Yes, that's what we mean by value is quality content.
You get 3 clients. You probably have 30 potential clients actually in your following, right? Like these people are amazing to work with because when we can show you the process that we're about to show you, you can literally turn things on and get like a bunch of clients right away. It's very simple to go boom, 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 clients, right? Like bunches of them because you've warmed them so much and they've gotten so much value. You've never actually led them down what we call an empowered client attraction pathway.
So shall we share
what who wants to see what it looks like?
We got a lot of yeses and yeses and yeses. All right.
Yes.
So
I'm going to clear.
You do you. You're in the drawing department. My bad.
The drawing department.
I'll let you lead that team.
All right.
I'll go to Canva. You stick with the drawing.
Perfect. All right. So
now this is the empowered client pathway, and this is what this looks like. So ultimately, do you want to talk or do you want me to talk?
No, you can talk.
Okay. So ultimately, you're bringing people through a pathway. So this pathway starts off as they're a complete stranger. They have no idea who you are, right? This is your cold market. So it's moving people from your cold market, not knowing who you are. This could be, we're going to break down each and every single one of them individually so that we give it all to you. We're not holding anything back today. So then as people are in your cold market, if they like what they see and you're sticking out to them, they're going to start following you. Right. And then that following, that's a different type of messaging, different type of content that you're creating that's really building rapport, and you're creating this warm market. They're warming up to you. So you're starting to build this relationship. As they start seeing you, the valuable content that you're sharing, the trainings that you're doing, the stories, all of those things, whatever that is aligned to you, because this is going to look a little bit different for everybody because everybody is really unique. So we're going to talk about the alignment piece of this and making this work for you, because this is, just everyone is completely different. We want to make sure that you're in alignment with who you are. As you have warm them into your hot process, it's not then like, oh shoot, someone wants to work with me, let's grab a call and close the deal. We want to qualify them. We're going to explain in a little bit why this step is really important. You're going to interview them, and then you're going to give them an offer after they ask for it.
We're going to call it the sexy offer.
The sexy offer. Be getting sexy today. And so now, as we're going through all of these, I want to break down each one, what that looks like. I want you guys to rate yourself in this process of what you guys have set up now. And we do a rating scale. If it's red, it's like, not happening. Don't pay attention to that. Didn't even really realize that was a thing. Yellow is like, it's okay. Maybe I need to put a little bit more focus in this area. Like now I'm aware of it. If it's green, it's like, you're on it. You're good. This is amazing. You've got momentum in your business and everything's going great.
In that specific
area.
All right. So everybody cool with doing a really cool assessment to see where you are in these different areas in your business. Everybody down? Awesome. All right, so first we're going to start with cold. So ultimately, I'm going to just go to the end results, and then we're going to talk about it a little bit. So the end result of cold is you're bringing in a new flow of people that on a regular basis, ideally like a daily basis, of cold people that have no clue who you are, right?
So that could be adding them, or they're adding you as a friend, or you're adding them as a friend from another group. It could be if you're on Instagram and someone follows you. It's just somewhere or another, you're bringing in people who do not know you and you're adding them into your audience on a daily basis.
Yeah. And so this could be, like Reels, this could be TikTok, this could be Facebook groups, this could be LinkedIn, this could be all kinds of different options. We're going to talk about the alignment and where different areas could be more aligned to you or not. But this is, so what you want to do, or we'll talk about it first. So as far as attracting, should we have them rate themselves or then we talk about it, or we'll talk about it first? So let's talk about cold. So the really big difference of attracting new people and speaking to cold people is really being in the symptom, speaking to the symptom of people's challenges and not what you know, right? Most of us as coaches you're pretty smart, right? Is everybody pretty educated in your coaching modality?
We attract some pretty incredible people. So
yeah, I'm just curious, like if you would consider yourself pretty educated in the coaching lingo, the wording, the having the spaces and giving some
creating the container,
containing the container
to integrate the transformation experience and really have them embodied.
Yeah, in my particular say, I'm feel so steeped in the vocab. Yeah, so this is the thing. Your potential clients, especially the cold ones that have not been listening to you for a while, have no fucking idea what you're talking about. Like you're actually making them run away. Is because it's like you're scaring them with all of this fancy talk, and it's repelling them instead of attracting them. People, like coaches, think that it's like speaking this way is going to impress people, or you're
so natural. I do it. I gotta be honest. There's times I do it. I gotta check myself.
Yeah. Well, it's like an awareness. It might be. It's like you don't even know. Like I'm curious who just had a holy crap, I'm freaking jargoning them to death. And so, because this is the thing. So what we really want to be doing is speaking to the challenges that they're actually dealing with in the real life. This is the other thing.
And they know about,
they know about them.
Like as soon as I see it, they're like, oh yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Because
my kids are stressing me out. Summer break, it's just an example of it.
Yeah. So we had a client that came in, and she worked with neurodiverse. So when she came in, this was the messaging. She worked with, parents of neurodivergent kids to help them emotionally connect to their kid. And this is the thing, is they have no, like most people that like they don't, neurodivergent is a very educated term, right? Like you need to be kind of down the path of researching of what that looks like to really understand what that is. Most people in the world went to their doctors and their kid got diagnosed with, you know, autism or whatever, or ADHD or whatever the thing is, right? And so she was coming from such a far down the path, right? Like the educational path, that the only people that she would be attracting are people that have already done so much research. And now you have to compete for that client. Does that make sense to everyone? Like if you would, what you want to be and what this is really speaking to and being the pathway. You get to be the educational source for them. If you think of any time you've made a big purchase, you've done all this educating yourself, you've done all this research and done all this stuff. Like if you show up and you did all the research and then now you showed up and there's like 3 different options of potential people that could help you with the thing. Now you're in the power seat, you're educated, and now they get to compete towards like which one gets the job, right? Now, if one of them would have been the education source to actually bring you through that research, and then you show up and you're like, oh, of course, you're the only option, right?
So
You're the only option. I know I talk in the regular language. Awesome. I used to be very cool. So what this is our cake model. And what you want to do is think of all of your education as the full cake, but especially in your cold marketing.
By the way, this is like gluten-free, monk fruit, all the healthy options,
yes.
Like keto cake, right?
Yes.
Okay. So I just want to make sure we're high vibe around here. Like this is a healthy cake, but we're taking this whole process. If you think of like people biting down or like taking their spoon down in the cake, we're bringing them through this process.
Yes. And so when you're attracting cold people, you want to constantly be in the frosting. You're just speaking to the top of the cake, and you're educating them that there is more cake underneath here. There's more to the cake, and then bringing them through to the next place. So you're educating, and then you're bringing them to the next place. The next place could be your warming place.
I think it's just like an example of trauma. I think we work with a lot of trauma people. And
who does trauma here? I know Krista does.
Some arena or other is trauma, right? So something cold right here is not necessarily trauma, because a lot of times people don't realize that they're in a trauma response, right? So the cold could be more anxiety. It could be the not sleeping. It could be the constant worrying. Like if you look at the yes, to trauma clients, addiction, depression. Yes, it's like all of these things are the surface level things that they know that they're having problems with. They're not necessarily saying like, I have a problem with trauma, so I'm going to go hire a coach.
Yeah, and the other challenge with that is a lot of the people that are super aware that they have trauma are still on the couch. They haven't got out of bed yet to come hire you, right? They're
or they're on the other side of the awareness, and they're like, they know that they have trauma, and then everything is like, oh, it's one big trauma loop of life, and who am I anymore? So there's that level too, like the whole life is trauma response. Now who am I? Great. And that's a whole different level of healing as well. There are those people out there.
No, there totally is. But if this is the thing, is like there's people that are like you can't actually help yet. And if you're speaking all to the trauma, is that they're not ready to do the work. Right. So if they still, but if you speak to the symptoms of trauma that maybe they're unaware of, then you can educate them that the reason they're having these symptoms is due to trauma.
Yeah. So if you're having these symptoms, it's like, let's step you into the next place. Like come join, maybe it's a community or some invitation where you can bring people together and bring them into this next phase of warm. So before we go into warm, I want you guys to rate yourself as we've been talking about cold. Do you feel like you've been doing this already when you go out there in your marketing? Are you bringing people in every single day, and just rate yourself on a red, yellow, green basis here and what that looks like.
Yeah, and not what you think it is, right? You want to get into the result of it. Do you have a ton of people that are, like potential clients sitting out there that are like coming to you? They're consistently coming on a regular basis, but and yeah, so you have
Even if they're
consistent
consistent people coming in, we'll get to the rest of it, but at least consistent people coming in. Red, yellow, getting better. Thanks to you guys. Appreciate that. I'm glad.
Awesome.
Maybe yellow. Yellow. Cool. So now what you're doing, you're taking this cold, you've gotten these people's attention, and you're bringing them into this next phase, which is really their warm, right? You got their attention with cold. This could look like maybe they click on a link in your Instagram and go to a Facebook group. Maybe you invite them over to a Facebook group. We like Facebook groups. We've gotten our system works pretty good with Facebook
very
groups.
solid.
It's a great place, no matter what platform that you're on, to be able to just kind of bring people into, or you're like creating your community. I know tribe used to be the word. Now tribe's not the word. So whatever the word is right now, you're bringing your peeps together in a place, and it's all around a common ground, and it's around a common theme, so to speak.
Yep.
Now in your group and your warm audience, this could also be your personal profile, these people that just continually like your posts and they start like going on your stories.
This could be a WhatsApp, this could be a Discord, this could be all kinds of.
We're keeping it loose for a reason, and we're going to explain what that reason is, because truly this is going to look differently. And so because of the amount of people that we've worked with and we've seen, like, you can't just put people in a box and expect them to like, here's the thing. But what we can do is like, these are the pieces that you need. Let's make sure that you have them through the process, and we'll create what those pieces look like for you. Fair enough?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So let's talk about warm. So one of the things with warm is, let me ask you, it's kind of like talking about like, okay, who here knows that you have clients that they almost need to have a certain amount of understanding or be in a certain place for them to get the most out of your program? Like, who hates freaking getting on calls, and then everybody, like, people have like these like objections, and they have all these like 1,000 questions.
Then you have to go Google, how do I conquer sales objections? What do I do if this happens?
Yeah, and but what we realize, that objections are really just limiting beliefs, right? And it's not limiting beliefs. The limiting belief is keeping them from hiring you, but they're also limiting beliefs that are keeping them stuck in their current situation. And now you could probably get them to where they want to go way faster, right? Who agrees that you could get somebody way faster to where they want to go than if they did it on their own? Like, who would agree with that, right? But this is ultimately the thing is that they have some sort of limitation or thing in the way of even taking a step down the path, right? There's these things in the way, right? So what you want to do is create your warm content to handle these limiting beliefs. And it's basically overcoming objections, but also and this is the cool thing is who actually wants to make a freaking impact with your marketing.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
where marketing could be fun.
Like,
we can't wait to go on there and create.
Like, you could actually create a transformation. Like, I'm just curious, who here is like actually wants to really transform the world, right? And then that's a lot of people to potentially working with, right? But the way that you could do it, right? The way you could actually work with, like, really transform the world, because you could, even if you had 100 clients, to get 100 clients, your content and the impact and the transformation that you get to make with all the people that didn't join is going to be in the thousands, right? We've probably, impacted and transformed thousands, probably tens of thousands of coaches and healers in the world because of our content that's been out in the world, right? And because we have 40, almost 5,000 in one group. We both have about 10,000 people following us on our pages. I don't know how many have seen our content. We have our podcast. We have all these different things, right? And so if you actually set up your marketing where it's causing a transformation in the process of them like getting to the point where they can hire you, then it becomes fun, like Holly said, but it also allows you to make the impact that you're actually here for and get a bunch of clients. So
You
it's
just bring it all in.
you
there.
bring it all in. So that's one of the things. So that's why if you hear us telling stories, so like we have a client, Amber, we talked about her at the beginning, right? But one of the reasons we tell her story is because there's a couple of things. If you're who's an offline coach that has either like transitioned in the last couple of years to online or is currently transitioning online. I'm just curious on who's that. If you're that person, when she transitioned online, she had no technical skills at all and actually lost 70% of her clientele because she had no clue how to deliver online. But she also didn't know how to attract clients online either. She was in person doing, I don't know how she got clients really. Maybe she was just well known. I really don't know. But when
It's a different game.
when we started working with her, not only did Holly work with her on her offer, which we'll talk about later, her sexy offer, but we helped her create this empowered client attraction pathway. So now she can consistently attract clients that have no clue who she is. And that process looks a little different than other people. So we tell this story because if you have some sort of limiting belief about, oh, you have to use a lot of tech to do this online thing, or that I'm an offline coach, I couldn't do this online stuff, or whatever the limiting belief is.
We have another one. Oh, I don't have a large following, so I can't make this happen. We had a
Yeah.
client, Sebastian. He started his group. There was like 29 people in it, and like there were all 29 of them were just about giving his credit card because it was just the messaging was there. So you just had that quality person there. So your warm audience is sharing those stories and sharing, educating them through the process. And now you can start getting a little bit more lingo-y in the warm place because now you're the one that's being that education piece and helping them overcome any objections that they have throughout whatever healing that process.
Yeah, and what you're doing is it's like who liked our model with the circles, right? And the different areas. I'm just curious on because so this is another part of warm is educating exactly how you work with clients. How do you cause the transformation? So Patricia, tell us how. We are kind of telling you how, right? It's a little loose because it
really
because of
needs to be
alignment.
aligned with you, right?
Yeah.
So ultimately the how is you're building your cold market. So every day you're bringing people in through your cold, whether that's Instagram or Facebook, whatever. Our next piece we're going to be talking about is really alignment because alignment is important. So it's like, where are your people at? And where do you feel most, I want to say comfortable, led, whatever terminology you want to use there. What platform are you building up and bringing new people in every day?
Yep.
Right after you're building them up, you want to take them into this next phase of putting them in some sort of community where they're all together around this one area that you coach around and the outcome that you give them. And you start sharing in that community, resources, educating them around what it is that they're going through, sharing stories around clients that you've worked with, sharing stories around maybe overcoming some sort of objection. So that's your warm. Now, what's going to happen as you start doing this? So if every day you follow and you make sure you have your cold, warm, and hot, you will build momentum in your coaching business. Like that is
Guaranteed.
I hate that word, but I'm like, if you really do this every day though, it just does work.
Yeah. As long as and this is the other part of what we work with is if you're cleared, right? Like if you don't have, because there's a lot of
this is the energetics piece of this. We work within the strategy and the energetics. So.
Yeah. It's like if you have the energetic blocks, if you have the mindset blocks, if you have the little limiting things in the way of you actually, accepting money or being willing to be seen or just
Let's
all
get
the
all
things.
those out of the way.
Get those things. Yeah.
And so it really is a mix of the transform piece and putting it all together as you create this as well.
Yep.
So now as you start sharing all of that in your warm, what's going to happen is you're going to find.
Well, let's have them rank themselves on one.
Okay. Yes.
So rate yourself green, yellow, or red, and you're nurturing, you're warm, handling objections, you're building rapport, you're educating them on how you help people, you handling the stories that handle the limiting objections, all that stuff.
red, yellow. Awesome. And this is great awareness, right? We're having you rate yourself so you can
Nothing's
see.
wrong, right?
Absolutely not. This is awareness. I think is one of the most powerful things that you can achieve, like really get is like, oh, okay, that's there. Because then you can make that transformation. There's no use in spending time on
Nice, great job,
transforming
Nicole.
something that's green, right? If it's green, high five. Keep going and doing what you're doing here.
Yeah, I can see that, Krista. All right, so let's talk about hot.
So as you start doing this, what's going to start happening is people are going to start loving what you're putting out. They're going to start resonating with what you put out, and they're going to be like, all right, okay, I like this. Maybe they go to a training, and then that hot is really that invitation to work with you.
Yeah, and this could be people reaching out. So you could send us a message and say, hey, I want to work with you. And that happens, but it's a very small percentage. But there's another one that is, I'll tell a story really quick. There's a guy and he's basically training to be a professional poker player in Las Vegas, right? And so he wants to learn how, and this guy's at the table and he's like the pro, right? Like he's the guy with kind of creepy probably. And anyway, so he's like, could you train me in playing poker? And he's like, sure. He's like, here's lesson number one. And he took him to a nightclub. And he was wearing a what do you call it? What are those like those jackets?
Like the trench coat?
Yeah, a trench coat. He's wearing a trench coat.
I don't think they let people wear trench coats in clubs anymore.
I don't know, but
an old story.
This is an old story. But he's under the table and he pulls out a shotgun and he racks the shotgun under the table, right? And he's like, the person that looks this way, like pay attention to people that are looking around. Like you see the people that look over here, those people know what the hell is going on, right? And the point is like he was teaching the guy with poker that if you're at the table and you can't poke it, you can't find the pro or the person that's really good, like you're or it's like if you can't pick out the person that is like the shark and the guppy or whatever the situation is, then you are the thing. But in my case, it's like you need to be able to put out marketing that get people to turn their head. You're a perfect client. I'm just curious, like everybody here, like who's your ideal client that if you could put out a post and their heads go whoop, like and look right at you, right?
That's what I need.
That's what you want, is to be able to create posts that they just go, whoa, what's this? I need this. And then they're like inquiring, they're like, I need what you. I'm just curious, like if that analogy landed. I know it's a weird analogy, I acknowledge that. And this might not be the audience for it, I don't know. Makes sense. Okay, leaders. Okay.
Yes.
You have trouble visualizing. Okay, no worries. The idea, Amber, is really the gist of it is like you need to create a post that talks about a couple of things, is like, speaks to the specific client, right? Speaks to the specific problem that you solve, and what's the specific result that you're going to help them get.
For instance, I'll share, I now eat according to my cycles. It's been the most transformational thing. I live my whole life around my cycles. Ladies, let's have this conversation. It's amazing. So I saw this woman, it was very distinct. Like I'm looking to work with 5 women who've had a hormone imbalance, and sometimes they feel like they're just going crazy and have tried everything to balance their hormones. Oh, yes, that's me. I need to balance my hormones. How do I do that? You got my attention, right? That's the kind of thing that we're talking about, right? It's very direct. This is who I'm looking for, and they're looking, and you want this result.
Yeah, there you go. So having a post like that. The other part of hot is not intending to direct message. Sorry, folks. No worries. So the other part of hot is people that have constantly showed up, right? They're constantly watching your content, and you're just reaching out and like building rapport and connecting with them, and seeing if they need anything, if they need the support, if they need guidance. But they're already watching your stuff. They're already into your world, right? So that's what hot's all about. Any questions? I'm just curious. I just want to make sure that everybody's really clear on what hot looks like.
Because ultimately what you're doing, you're building this pathway every day, and you're concentrating on cold, warm, and hot people on a daily basis.
So rate yourself green, yellow, or red on hot. So hot people see that message and they respond to you. Yeah, they message you, they could comment, they could whatever your what we call a call to action is, right?
I will say this post is sometimes you may not get like the me, but
Like a
then
ton of them.
yeah, but then you get messages directly like, hey, I saw your post. I didn't want to comment
Great job,
on it,
Nicole.
but such and such has been going on, and I wanted to reach out privately. That happens for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And now you don't want to have this invitation every single day. You can have it in multiple places, but ultimately, if you've already done
Yes.
a post like this where you're asking them, hey, I'm looking for this type of person, then it's like, who can you maybe reach out to, maybe follow up with, build rapport of how's it going with people that you're seeing constantly like on your feed and liking some of your stuff, and you start building that relationship with them. So every day you're focusing a little bit on your hot, a little bit on your warm, and a little bit on your cold market.
Yeah. And like, people, you come to train, they come to your trainings, they come to different things. I have a reasonable number of DMs, but lots of room in my booking calendar for more.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Good. Cool. So now as these people are hot and they're raising their hand, you may be thinking like, great, you get a call, you get a call, you get a call.
You become the Oprah of calls.
But hold on, we're going to stop because we're actually not going to just like jump in and book a call with everybody.
Yes.
Yes. Let's talk about that.
So the most important so this is like one of the biggest things that a lot of our clients are missing. I'll give you an example. We had a client recently, she booked like 13 calls in 1 week and got no clients. And I'm like, well, are you qualifying them before you're getting on a call with them? She's like, no, am I supposed to be? And I'm like, yes. And so no big deal. Miss that module. It's okay. And so who's sick of getting on calls and wasting your time with people that are not your perfect client, that are not actually interested in solving a problem, they're not actually they're not really actually interested, or you have to prove yourself. They want you to prove that you can help them.
I don't know about you, but I'm done proving myself to people after 40. I'm like, that's long done, healed.
Yes. So this is
so the reason, like, why do you qualify? Done with that before I started. Amen, sister. Okay. So why do you qualify? You ever go to the beach and you see that sign that has like the flag and what the water's like that day? And it gives you an indication, do you want to swim and keep going forward with this person? Or is it like, it's just a sunbathing, we're not going to the beach, red flag day? You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah. Does that make sense? Does anybody go to a beach and experience this?
So if you haven't, at beaches, especially like where there's storms, if the water is really crazy, then there's a red flag on the sign that says, don't swim in this. It's too crazy. The water's too crazy. It's not safe today. Right. So it's like the qualifying what this is doing. It's like you're assessing what flag this person is. Is this even a person that you want to get on the call with first? Okay, so there's a couple flags. We'll go through with them. So the first one is, this is the red flag, right? We all know what the red flag is. We've seen in relationships. They're like the red flags of, no, this is not going to work out.
So this is somebody that refuses to like go through your content. This is the person that is like fighting you on the concepts of what you do. They're the ones that are second guessing, like that they need help, but they're still reaching out to you.
Everything that you're saying. Yep, I know. Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah,
but they're the ones that are not actually looking to go deep and actually create a transformation. They're just like, I don't know what their purpose is. They say they want help, but they're just like
limiting themselves, and they have their own lessons to learn still before they're ready.
Who's experienced these people? I'm curious.
Just not ready. Yep. Not your peeps. Yep. And so how you find out that they're not your peeps is you qualify them before you even get on a call. There is no sense in wasting your time on a call with these people, right? So you're qualifying, red flag. Maybe you direct them to a training that you have. That's always the best. I've found it's probably the best. Or if they're just no, I don't even want them in my energy field. Just on friends, best of luck to you. Maybe here's another resource of this person that could help you.
Yeah. And so there's a difference between red flags and blue flags. Blue flags are people that have not seen your content yet, but they are totally willing to take a look and really get to know more about you. Red flags are people are unwilling to look at that anything could be their responsibility, right? That they don't see, like they couldn't be held accountable. They are unwilling to look at where the gaps are. There's nothing, like there's no gap, right? They just, and it's something, all the things are outside of them, right? And they're unwilling to take anything else on in consideration, right? Like, you do not want to waste time with these people. A blue flag is somebody that is just they're not educated enough on what you do or how you help people for them to make any sort of decision. And if they would get on a call, you'd have to put on your dancing hat, and you got to like dance and like prove yourself and like show how amazing you are, and like get, and like then you're proving and showing your worth and all the things, instead of which is the next option is, or the better option is interviewing, where you're actually interviewing to see if people are a good fit, right?
Yep. So blue flags, would you send them to a video or a training?
Yes.
It's like as you're qualifying them, you're like, oh, it's not quite done yet. Let's watch a few trainings and then have a conversation, and then we can see if it's a good.
Yeah, and every one of you will probably get this sentence sent to you at some point in time from us. It's mind if I ask you a few questions to see if I can help further or help at all or support you or some thing of that. And if you ask that, and then you start asking the questions that are your qualification questions,
So
and
you have a set
questions.
Everyone gets to ask these questions.
And you're going to be listening for these flags. Is this person somebody that I want anything to do with? And if they're red, then you're like, hey, unfriend, bye. And you're like slowly
going into the hedges.
Yes. You're slowly going into the hedges. And blue is like, hey, I actually have a training that I think might be able to help you in my group. Would you like to check it out? And then you send them the training. And then the next one being yellow flag.
I hear my baby. We might have our CCO come join us. Just wanted to give that heads up. She just woke up. Should I go get her?
Yeah, go girl.
Okay, I'll be back.
All right, so a yellow flag is, so the truth is everybody charges here money, right? Like everybody, you charge money for your services, and people aren't like accepting lobsters for coaching. I'm just curious. I'm just checking in. I don't even know who's still on here. Cash is king. Okay, good. So this is the thing. Sometimes when you're asking people how many lobsters, this is the thing you're constantly listening for is like, could this person potentially have the resources to invest in my services? And or are they, maybe they're throwing out some signals that they could be, that they're not there yet, right? They're not ready yet for your service. Or they might be, they say something in a way that could come up as a red flag, but you're not sure. This is like time to ask a furthering question. So I'll give you an example. Sometimes I'll say, how much are you, what's your goal for, on a monthly basis for your coaching? And they'll be like, oh, $10,000 a month or $20,000, $30,000 a month. Okay, cool. How much are you averaging now? And they're like, oh, well, I'm, I actually have no income from my coaching right now. I'm like, ooh, okay. I don't say that, but I'm like, oh, okay. So, how are you, like, we don't take rent money to work with us, right? Like, so it's like, do you have a job? Do you have a spouse? Like, how is bills getting paid? That's usually the question that I like, how are you eating? Like, and sometimes I'll joke around about that. And like, oh, my spouse is, does really well and it's all good. And then I'll ask a furthering question, because then it's, You just described me, money, big goal, and no current income from business. Yeah, so that could be, and so Bethany, like in your situation, I don't know what it is. You might have a bunch of savings sitting there, like that you're just ready to like really invest in your business and you're ready to crush it, right? Or you might have a spouse that's like, and then the next question is, and this is like an important thing for us, is like, is that spouse supportive, right? Like, because if they make all the money, if the spouse makes all the money, but they're not supportive, like, well, that isn't going to work either. Holy crap. Like, so it's like asking these furthering questions to see if the thing is. And then another one would be is like, you know, I guess in our case, like we help people create evergreen transformational experiences. And if somebody comes off very hard on like one-on-ones, I do one-on-ones. And maybe they're capped. Ooh, this is a good one. So maybe they are almost capped on clients, right? Like I'm curious who does one-on-one, who does one-on-one client, like content, right? Like who does, so sounds like you're having conflict that's stopping you from growing. Yeah, so those are all good questions. So it's like asking, so sorry, I need a ground. Whew. All right, so yeah, so if they throw up a flag that they do one-on-one coaching, so I'm curious who does one-on-one coaching here. So if you are almost capped on potential clients and you only do one-on-one, I have to ask a furthering question because some people are just stuck in like, I'm unwilling to do anything besides one-on-one, right? Like they're unwilling to do anything. Like they're like, there's like limiting things, going back to this thing that like I can only deliver in a one-on-one fashion, right? So I have to ask, like, well, are you open to creating maybe a transformational experience around your one-on-one? And you can totally have one-on-one with your transformational experience. Are you like at least open to that? Because it's like hard to, okay, I'll give you an example. So we had a client, she was averaging about $8,000 to $15,000 a month, doing pretty well, right? But she was working 60 to 80 hours a week because all of her stuff was one-on-one. She had some group, but it was mostly one-on-one. And so when we started working with her, we helped her create her transformational experience. 2 months later, she got up to $28,000 a month, but she was only working 30 hours a week. So she cut her time in less than half and almost like tripled her income. And so and she was unsure on how to do anything outside of one-on-one too. So it was really interesting. So she was but she was open, right? So this is the thing, it's like if she would have told me, I'm not sure how to do what I'm doing outside of one-on-one, and I'm unwilling to look at anything else, but I want to grow my business and I want to work less. Like I don't like with integrity, I don't know how to make that work, right? But if she's like, I'm with furthering questions, hey, are you willing to do an experience? But she's, and she's willing and she doesn't know how, she just needs the support on doing it, then that could totally work, right? Does that make sense to everyone? I just want to make sure I'm not like rambling for no apparent reason.
I'm just stepping back in, motherhood calm. So
no, that was awesome.
Everything as well.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Good. So green flag are good things like, and we're going to show you all the potential green flags next. Actually,
well, I want to real quick, Bethany, I see you. And we're definitely going to talk about the misalignments and finding those misalignments too. So I think if we keep going, we may get that. And if you're not completely clear there, then maybe we can
have a conversation
questions at the end. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, green flag.
Cool.
Sorry, I just want to make sure.
Yeah,
that
no,
I see
that's cool. Okay, so let's undo. Oh, actually, I could use this box because it's the same. Boom. All right, cool. All right, so these are some green flags to look for when you're having conversations. One is they love you.
And this isn't for your ego. Like, I just want to throw that out there. Like, it's awesome. Yay, ego. People love you.
Yeah.
That's not what it's about, right? It's that, like,
who loves me? Love me.
they vibe with you. Like, there's a connection there that they feel. That's important. Especially in the transformation space, you need to have that connection and they need to feel connected to you. Urgent, Meaning it's like,
Yes,
that.
so it's interesting because there's a way of coming, there's like a scarcity urgency, and then there's a purpose driven contribution.
I
Like
really, I
I'm,
like that you said that.
yeah,
So it's
yeah,
like a
I know.
divine.
I felt you like, I felt you
I'm like, anything
just,
that's urgent or pressure is like not in truth, right? But there's this divine like fire. It's like, this is just time. It's like, I can't keep doing the way that I'm doing anymore. It's not working. Like, I got to get to this next level. It's like a divine urgency.
yeah, no, totally. It's cool, Chris. So yeah, so what you want to do is you want to be listening in your conversations for people that are like, holy crap, like I'm not like from a scarcity place, but like I have, like in our case, somebody, I'm just curious who works a job here, like maybe like a job, like a high paying job type situation where you're like, you got the golden handcuffs where you're making a bunch of money, but you really, your purpose is in your coaching and you want to like get out of it and transition.
You just know it's time.
Yeah, and so there's some people that you have zip tie handcuffs. Amber, you're hilarious. So yes. Oh my God, that's funny. So there's like the situation where like I like don't love this job. It's not working for me, and I need to get out. Or even worse, that like you're maybe on a contract situation where you're like, or worse, I don't know if it's worse, but it's like 6 months to replace my job income, or I have to go get another contract situation, and then I'm stuck in another situation and I can't really live my purpose.
Living in the loop.
Yeah, you're living in this loop of like not loving what you do and just constantly being sucked back into it, right? That's the urgency. It's like I just had this conversation with a guy. He's making $250,000 a year, right, in his job, and he is good at what he does, but he freaking hates it. It's not serving the planet. It's not serving him. It's not making the difference that he's here for. He is transformation in the world, and it's not happening, right? And like and so and the other thing is like he wants to move closer to his kids. Like he's an hour away from his kids right now, and he wants to be able to move. So it's like not from a scarcity place, but like he is like there's a fire, right? Maybe it's not urgent. It's like a fire to move towards these things, to the things that he wants. So this is what you want to listen for. People that have this. The good way to look at it is like we talked about the challenges that people are dealing with. If you are listening for the stuff that is keeping me awake at night, this is keeping me up. I'm not able to sleep because this thing is just driving me. And that's when and when you can solve that problem for somebody and really make that difference, your offer is freaking fire, right? And you can make some good money and really make the impact, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the next thing is intent. So intent is they're looking to hire a coach, right? They're actually looking, and this is the thing, is it's a challenging thing because we talked about having this pathway, right? You really almost want to catch people like here.
In the qualify?
Yeah, in the qualify with these two spots, and then the intent is caused by your content. If you can take people from urgency to intent, it's going to make a huge difference, right? Like if anybody's here, right, and you were kind of in the urgency spot of like, I really need to solve this challenge, and if we could help you move from there to, holy shit, I need to hire somebody to solve this problem.
All right, let's do it.
That's that's powerful. And the other thing you can do with your content, you can be cause through your content to increase urgency, right? Telling stories and like how you transformed your life, telling stories about and really getting people to visualize. Well, here's a good question. Like if you didn't get the support, right? If you didn't get the support, how what would your life look like? Right? Like if you didn't pull the trigger, if you didn't solve this problem, like what would happen? right? Like, what's that path look like? If you kept walking down the current path that you're walking down, what is going to happen, right? So these are some questions that you want to answer for people or help them answer, right? Next one is perfect client. Now, we talk about really getting clear on who your ideal client is. And and then there's something called the bullseye. And then there's the whole board. So if this is like a dartboard, and like what you want to be doing is constantly listening for your ideal client. And we don't have time to really go into the details of like how to come up with your ideal client, but I'll just do
If that's something that you need, feel free to reach out to us. We have lots of trainings around it.
Yeah, I'll just do it real quick. So it's like the person that you can make the biggest impact with, the person that you actually love to be around, and the person that actually has the resources to invest in your services. Like that's our framework for your perfect client. So when you can get super, super clear on who that ideal client is, you're listening for them being your ideal client, right? Krista is a great example of our ideal client. Sarah, a great example of our ideal client. Inga, like, I'm not sure who else is on here. This is just the people that I can actually see right now. Like,
I'm sure there's more of you guys.
Sure, there's more of you.
Most of you guys on here.
It's because they've made a difference with people already. And not that we can't help other people that are just getting started, but it's they've worked with people, they've made a difference, they've made the transformation, they're already making, like, have resources, different things all
and their way of being is
their way of being
amazing.
Yeah, it's the love, want to hang out with them, all the things.
We have a rule that, like, if we wouldn't take someone to dinner or lunch and like hang out with them, then we don't want them in our program. Like,
yep.
I'm heading to Michigan and one of our clients lives up there. Sweet, let's go out and have some lunch. Right? Like, so by having that, especially as you start creating a community on the back end and you start having more clients, it's like you're also want to not just protect yourself from working with like clients that are going to give you a headache, but also you have this community and this culture that you're building on the backside too. And you want to make sure that it's a good culture fit as well. So which is another reason why we're qualifying and we're interviewing and we're like going through this process.
Yeah. So listening for the bullseye, right? Constantly listening for the bullseye. Anybody have any questions about any of that part of it? And then we can just keep moving to interview.
You rate yourself?
Yes, rate yourself on Qualify. Green is like you have a really rock solid process that is creating relationships. It's actually creating a transformation in the conversation. It's also clearing out people that are not a good fit for your program. It's and then you're able to actually point people in a direction of somewhere that that can get the support.
So we have some greens. So that's probably red. That's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to do it. I'm gonna pretend that I know you guys are.
That's cool.
I got Canva down though. People who think I'm a pro, totally not.
All right, so let's
talk about interviewing and why interviewing is different than qualifying. It's a complete and what those differences are. So after you qualify, you've got a yellow flag or a green flag that you're getting on a call with. They have 2 out of 3 of those boxes filled.
Mm-hmm.
Then it's like, all right, this seems like it could be a good fit, but like, let's not rush into anything yet. All right, let's hop on a call and let's just have a conversation. It's a totally different thing when you're talking to someone through Messenger and then you're face to face on Zoom, right? And again, when you do this process and you start bringing people together and you follow this, it's like, I can't even describe the people within Quantum Impact. Like, they're just the most incredible people. And I truly believe with all my heart, it's because we've taken some extra time to really get to know everyone that comes into the program. And we go through this process with them. Appreciate you, Clifford. Thanks. So the interview, it's a bit different because these are the people that you're talking to, you're now having a Zoom conversation with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the difference between qualifying and interviewing, it becomes an energetical thing at that point, right? And people can kind of like BS your qualification questions a little bit. I've had people show up on calls where I'm like, why, why us and why now? That's one thing we ask. And they're like, oh, you wanted to do this call. And I'm like, well, actually, you went through a whole process of questions and you've told me how big of a gap and all the things. And then, and I'm like, okay, whatever, let's just roll from here. And so they can kind of BS the qualifying a little bit, right? It doesn't happen a lot.
I think it's just an energetic.
And it's an energetical thing.
For both sides.
Right?
For both. When we talk about empowered client pathway, I'm talking empowered for you and empowered for your potential clients. I want everyone in this situation to be empowered and uplifted and feeling good throughout this whole process. It matters.
Yep. I want to talk about, so this is what you ultimately want to be doing is, do you have a list of qualifying questions that are pretty general for many types of coaching? We definitely do in our program, Bethany.
We actually help you design them. So
yeah, we help them
for you.
customize them for you with our clients.
It's ultimately finding the gap. So that would be.
Yeah, well, we can actually talk about this real quick. And the qualifying and the interviewing is similar, right? In the sense of, oh yeah. So really quick, just I'll do this real quick, just for Bethany. Is this going to be valuable for anybody just to go through like just a quick framework for really qualifying and interviewing? I just want to make sure this is going to be valuable, so we're not good. Okay. So ultimately, what you want to do is you want to frame the call. Why are they here? That it's an urgent thing. That they're clear on how long the call is going to be. You're going to get really clear on, what they're like about them. Like in our case, we ask about your business and all that. So it's a little bit of like getting to know them. And then you're getting really clear on their vision. Where they want to go, what's their goals, then where they are right now, and then what's in the way of them getting there and just doing it on their own. And they need to really sell you kind of on that. And then our thing is getting another urgency. I ask a question called like, is this a later thing or a now thing? And it kind of messes with people's brains, but they have to basically tell me again why it's like an urgent thing. And then I ask like, why me, or why why us, yeah, or why you, and then why, and then they get to sell you on why you're the solution for their problem. And this is why all of this is so important. And then what we do is we actually put you on hold for a minute. I actually go talk to Holly and make sure it's aligned with you. If you're doing it by yourself, you just like look over your notes and just kind of feel into if they're a good fit. And then we do a 1 call or 2 call close situation or enrollment situation. And in a 1 call, we'd come back and we'd say, do you want to hear, I guess like you recreate. You recreate exactly
so that they feel really heard and really seen from there. And then once you recreate them, it's this very simple question of, where do you feel like we should go from here?
Yes, where would you like to go from here?
It's like you're giving them the power essentially of where they want to go, right? There's so many people when you're on calls or they've been on calls, they know the game, like they know the game and they're just waiting to be sold to. So when they hear where should we go from here, it's almost like, oh, well, yeah, I mean, what would it look like? What would it look like to work with you? I'm so glad that you asked. Yep. Bringing it into the next thing of the sexy offer.
Well, actually, let's rate yourself on the interview process. So do you have a clear, where you're interviewing potential clients to see if they're a good fit instead of you selling something, and having that be super, super, super clear? So give yourself a green if you're, interviewing, everything feels really good. And then yellow would be like, you're getting calls, people are becoming clients, but they're not
geez, sorry, I don't know what the heck all of a sudden.
It maybe the thing's a little wonky. And then red is like you have no process, or you're doing breakthrough sessions where you got to prove yourself. Give you a breakthrough session. All right,
breakthrough sessions for everybody.
Yes. That's a great perfect. Perfect. I tell you, Friday, have my first interview booked. Congratulations, Sarah.
Awesome.
Woohoo. All right. So the next one is sexy offer.
So we don't have time to talk all about the offer today and how to put it together. And although, I don't know, go ahead. What do you want to do there? Yeah. So we don't have. So the next is really the offer. So after you've done so where would you like to go from here? And they're like, well, what does that look like? Like, what's it look like to work with you? But the key here is really getting them and recreating them and then asking that. And so it's like a very natural process that happens. So you're not selling here at all. It's like, this is what you said, what that you wanted. These are the challenges. This is where you're at. Like, where would you like to go from here? And if they're like, oh, yeah, well, what you got? Right.
Yeah.
So then you can bring it into the offer. Right. So now the offer, what I will say, because again, we don't have, this could be a whole training in itself and putting the offer
I'll
together.
just touch on how I do it real quick. And then, so the way I do it is I go, okay, well, the purpose, so what we do is we work with you for 90 days. And the purpose of the 90 days is to add an extra $5,000 to $50,000 to your business. And the way we do that is we do three things. We help you create what we call an empowered client attraction pathway. Anybody heard of it? Then we help you create your transformational experience, which is so I basically, so I create the transformation. I walk them through the three different areas. So empowered client attraction pathway, we help you create your evergreen transformational experience and package it into an offer, which we're talking about right now. And then we do all the alignment work. So clear out any blocks, any limiting things. But this is the thing.
Finding the blind spots, any misalignments, like what are those things that are
stopping
you?
And then making sure that it's all aligned to you, right? Like making sure your offer is aligned to you, making sure that your process is aligned to you, and all of that. And then I just recap. I go, okay, so you're out to make $30,000 a month, and what you're doing right now is you're posting on Facebook, you're doing all this value, but you're not really enrolling consistent clients. And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, what's really in the way is really having some, having the structure and the processes, but also having a clear offer and program that you can enroll consistent people in. And then you also feel like maybe there's some fear, some limiting stuff that's keeping you from really growing this in a big way. I basically recap all the things that they told me. And then, and they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay, where would you like to go from here? And they're like, well, how much is it? And then you tell them how much it is. And then they're like, okay, cool. And then we teach our clients to create some fast action bonuses and some different things. And then they're like, they might be like, okay, let's do it. And you're like, all right, let's go. And you can take the payment right there. Or, and then what we teach our clients to do is to do fast action bonuses. We have two fast action bonuses. One of them is if they pay in full. The other one is if they actually, make a payment on the call. And again, we have a 2-call situation, so it's a little different.
Back to the alignment.
Yeah, back to the alignment, right? It's like some people are aligned to doing a 1-call situation. We actually do a two call. So the first call, it's like 15-20 minutes. It's very, very quick. There's nothing sold. You can't, like, if you ask me about the price, I boot you off the call. No, I'm just kidding. No, no, but like, it's just not a conversation about that. It's just to make sure that it's aligned on both sides, if it's a right now thing and it's a good fit for everyone. And then we schedule the second call and go much deeper. But yeah, so if they make a payment on the call, then they get extra time in the program. So yeah, that's like creating this offer and creating the bonuses where they're like, holy crap, I need that. That's so sexy, right? Like, who would like to add an extra $5,000 to $50,000 to your business in the next 90 days?
And we have that gap depending, of course, where you're at.
Yeah, and it's like I said, we've had clients do 138K, we've had clients do 74K, we've had clients do 90K, all the things, right? So it's like but then we've also had people that they just got started, right? They have no clue like who we are. They have no clue they have no clue who they work with. They've never taken money yet for coaching. Like most of our clients have worked with clients and they've made an impact. Some of them are free clients. And that's a little bit more challenging to get somebody to that income and really creating all this process. And there's just like more to do, right? So sometimes it takes a little bit longer. How often are you meeting with them in those 90 days? Do you filter out people who don't want to meet that frequently? What's 12 times? Yeah, it's really up to them. We have one
literally calls supporting them every
day. Yeah. And then
And so it's really depending because our calls are around different intentions and different things. So, of course, there's like who can go to a call every single day, right?
Not everybody.
Not everyone. Some people can. And that's totally cool. We also have clients that they show up like once a month and they get such incredible value and their business is like flourishing from it. So that's amazing too. And it's like you never, and even with your coaching as well, like you can't force people to be there, but what you can do is create that space and be a stand for them. I do the energetic work for all of our clients and supporting. So it doesn't surprise me when people even like come into the program. It's like things just start happening for them. Well, good, because I'm always creating that space for our clients and doing the energetics on the flip side that we don't, this is really the first time I've ever talked about it on, like, that's what I do with our clients is hold this space for them. So it's like, it's totally okay if people come once a month, as long as you're getting the results, right? Now, if you're not getting the results and you're not coming to calls and like not doing anything, and then like it's not the program. So I just stay unattached and be supportive and available. I guess that would be the best thing.
It's good.
Yeah.
So, rate yourself on your offer. Green, it's like it's flying off the shelves. People are taking you up on it. They're like, holy shit, I can't believe I got this. Like, this is amazing. And yellow is like, it's just kind of hit and miss. And then red is like, it's a no-go, right? Thank you, Amber. Yeah, we're still rating ourselves. Let's go. Cool. So you want to talk about alignment?
Yeah. So one of the biggest pieces, in all of this is really alignment with yourself. You operating with, you go ahead, operating with who you are, how you're designed. Each and every single person is designed differently, right? So how Sarah does something is going to be different than how Krista does something. That is different than how Mark does something. It's different how Frederick or Bill does something, right? And so it's like we're all built and wired so differently. So the problem is there's a lot of people just like, here's the program, now go do what we say. And then when it doesn't work out, like that person is feeling bad. Like I did the work, I'm doing what you're saying, and it's not working for me. And there's a lot of even toxicity, unfortunately. And I've been a part of some of these programs where they flip it around like, well, you must not be serious enough, or something's wrong with what you're doing. Well, a lot of times what's happening is you're trying to force something. It's like forcing a circle in a triangle shape, right? And it just doesn't work. So that's why we have this framework a little bit loose, where now we can start creating, how you create content. We use a modality, I don't know if anyone's familiar with human design, but we use human design and we use some of the Akashic records and soul design, where we're, using these energetic places that we can start finding what are your soul gifts. How do you use your soul gifts as a tool to be able to create and be in your marketing? And how are you designed to work best? Some people, work best and they need to be invited to something. So how do you set your marketing up when, going out there and talking, like initiating conversations feels very awkward for you? Well, we need to think about that and start creating something that's going to work with you. And that's where the magic starts happening, is when you really step into all of that you are and you really start embracing it. Great timing.
Are you back?
Come on back.
Awesome. You're like, I'm here.
Well, you left, so I wanted to make sure I am not afraid to take up space anymore.
Good, I love it. Grelio. That's always the
I love
that.
So ultimately, just like in conclusion, it's like as long as you have your cold and you're bringing in your cold, you're warming up those people, and then you're creating an invitation that's having them raise their hand like, yes, that's me, I want to go on this journey, or you're having some sort of conversations every day, you will start building momentum. You want to make sure that you're qualifying these people so that you're not wasting your time with people that just want to get something from you. And you're really talking to qualified people, and you're doing it in a way, when you are within your own design. And how many you guys know the feeling of alignment, right? Like it's just momentum's happening. Like this person, I don't know where this person came in, but okay, cool, this happened. Like, oh my gosh. And you're like just standing in awe and amazement of life, and that this is like a real thing that you get to live, right? That's what happens when you start really stepping into who you are and formulating your marketing and your offer, how you serve clients, even in your relationships. It really starts having, that's where we talk about this quantum impact in your life and business. So
yeah,
cool.
That's awesome.
How are we doing on time? We're good? Has this been valuable for everybody?
Is everybody getting value? Awesome.
Yes, I think someone
Great question.
had a question. I want to make sure that we get to it. Just that messaging distinction is gold. I used to just vomit random posts full of love with no system of moving them through the pathways. Yeah, intentional, definitely.
Sarah, do you want to just share that real quick? Like what that's been like, having kind of just been in the program and like what you've gotten from.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It'd be my pleasure, because really, I mean, I was very much that value driven, like, and I'm just going to give all my love. And I was too shy to ask or actually do the call to actions, which is funny because, I also tried to help new coaches kind of get started. So you guys were really beautiful in letting me in and sharing. And I put so much into play for structure, but just the messaging to actually say, okay, wait a second. Where am I posting and why am I posting it? What am I actually saying? Because I didn't even used to really do a call to action. It was just to finish with like kumbaya and hope that maybe somebody liked me. And just learning that process of saying, okay, I'm in a cold, other people's groups, and really understanding how important it is to get into the groups that you've selected and be there consistently. And then it's okay, actually have an intention of saying, okay, I'm trying to definitely give value for what it is. And like you guys teach, it's like, there are some people that you're not aligned with, but you still want to make space and hold space for them, but then really doing it with an intention to say, okay, how do I move them through? How do I actually invite them? And not like, I have so much fun now with my social media, and putting that content with a purpose and being like, hey, I actually get to speak with people. I actually get to take comments that they've done and connect and have those conversations and use your process to say, okay, are these people aligned to move them through? So it's been a game changer, because one, I was never consistent. And two, I really was just like, I didn't even know what to post. And even just like following you, Holly, and stuff, like, I'm just like, ooh, you have such a raw style. And so I've been playing with that too, and not feeling like, well, it has to be perfect or it has to be so uber structured. Because I went from being too lovey to then suddenly almost giving too much like details, and I'd lose the people. So that distinction of, I love that cake theory, because that idea of like when you're in cold talking to the icing really kind of balanced it for me to even be able to program my content and plan my content. Not that I used to prior to your course, but now that I do, I actually kind of do it. So no, it's and I have, the biggest thing for me too is I have fun with it now, because I'm actually like, okay, wait a second, what am I saying? How am I saying it? And other than just giving love, how can I actually draw them in so that I can scratch on those deeper surfaces? So I adore being with you guys, and and the program itself, because I was very much not prepared for all that you give extra, like the human design. I'd never heard of it, to be honest. I was like, what's that? And the Akashic records, I didn't know that either. But the entire dynamic. Yeah, no, I was like,
not fake.
Well, yeah, exactly. I was living on the surface on that one, the icing. So no, definitely, as I said, it's been a game changer. And like you said, I've got my program almost fully scripted out. I've got my first client book call going. That I've got my questions all typed out and stuff. So it's been pretty awesome. I'm really very appreciative.
Awesome.
I love it.
Thank you. All right. We're going to do this real quick. So we're going to run through the whole.
Patricia, that's awesome. Yeah, we just want to close that out, because that, we started in the beginning of this model. We talked about how this model was created and really, what it takes to live this life of abundance and have this coaching business online. Ultimately, this will take you up to 6 figures. And then once you get up to there, it's a different way of creating your business once we get to 7, and it comes with having teams and scaling and all of that stuff. But we want to do this rating thing for you guys as a whole as well. So you rated your empowered client traction pathway. You saw the places that were red, you saw the places that were yellow, and you saw some places that were green, which is perfect. That's exactly, we want you to have some green. And if it's all red, that was totally perfect too. The most important thing is you got to see where you were at. So now the goal is to get this all to green and your empowered client pathway, not just your empowered client pathway, but really all of this. So we want to give you guys a good, if it's okay with you guys, if this would be valuable for you guys, just an assessment of where you're at in your coaching business as a whole, of being able to attract, enroll, and really transform and have these pieces together. So that way, you know exactly what areas to work on. If areas are green, guys, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing a great job. Right? You don't ever fix what is not broken, right?
Yeah. And the one thing I will say is if you're seeing a bunch of greens and you're not making multiple 6 figures in your coaching, there's, I'll say there's some self-deception going on, and you
may have some yellows,
maybe a little bit of yellows and reds that you're not really,
or we call them blues.
Yeah. And nothing wrong. Right. And so Number one is going to be impact messaging. So this is getting really clear on who your niche is, getting really clear on being able to speak to your clients. This is like really being able to speak to that cold warm and like really just having that nailed in. Also being very clear on what platform you're on. So impact messaging. So rate yourself red, yellow, or green. And where did the if somebody is people are typing, oh, there it is.
Yeah, I was like, where did I go?
It disappeared.
We have so many people. We have people on the live chat too. Go ahead. So
Awesome.
we have yellow, green,
All right, next
solid yellow moving into green, red. Perfect.
next is community.
Messaging green.
This not an immunity. That's completely different.
Community.
So community is having a community that attracts, it's enrolling, it's you're having content that explains, it's really your warming place, how to build that deep rapport, how to build that authority, how to build that, all the things, right? So rate yourself on if you're getting clients from a group, a community of some sort, on a consistent basis. That could be a green. Yellow is maybe you're getting tons of engagement or you're getting a trickle of clients from your community, and red is like no clients from community.
Yellow, they exist, and I'm getting clients trickling. Awesome.
So next is content. Content is having a very distinct attract content that attracting new people that have no clue who you are. We have very distinct enroll client or warming content that builds a deep rapport and that handles those objections, and very distinct hot content that gets people to, you know, racking the shotgun to get people to turn their head and go, oh, how do I get that? And so rate yourself on content. Next is going to be the evergreen
Content,
transformational experience. Typing.
Content, more like what Sarah said, lots of love pouring out there. Need more substance than what I offer, and how sparks the feelings. Yeah.
Awesome. So next is going to be the evergreen transformational experience. So green means you have something that maybe you have a course that goes along with it that actually teaches your frameworks and your processes. And so you're not answering the same questions over and over again. That's actually doing the educating process. You have the support aspect of where you could maybe a group aspect that can handle a bunch of clients that can really, you know, support your people. If a bunch of people came in at once, and it just offers a exponential transformation in people's lives, so therefore when they come through it, they're never the same again, and that they so it's transformation, and it's just so much value to your people, so you can charge a high amount of money, right? And then people can come in at any point in time. That's the evergreen aspect. That's green. Yellow would be like maybe you have a container that starts every 3 months, and it's like you can't, it's like a spiky income. You have a bunch of money that comes in when people come into your container, and then you have to wait another month, 2 months to enroll any more people, and then
or you just make a new container.
Yeah, or yeah, another container, and then you become in this like launch cycle where it can cause burnout and all of that. And then red is maybe you're doing all one-on-one, you're charging per hour and all of that. Next is going to be the Empower Client Attraction Pathway, maybe the overall. We think we go in deep enough on that, so you can power. And then next is going to be the group success. This is like basically how confident you are in delivering in group, where you're actually causing the transformation with your clients in a group situation. So green being really like solid, like you could come on and just handle a big group and it's fine, and you're completely cool with scaling it to the next level.
Everyone feels like they're a part of it, and it's a good experience all around.
It's not deli coaching where you feel like they're showing up and they're getting a ticket and then they have to wait their time and they don't really have
questions.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, and it's not bringing everybody together, right? That would be like a yellow situation. And red is you don't have a group situation, you haven't done it, you don't really feel super confident. So next is 1, 2, 3s.
Size of the group don't matter, it's all in the quality.
There you go. threes. So 1, 2, 3s are what you're doing on a daily basis to get consistent results. It's like, or it could be called SOPs, standard operating procedures. This is where you are, any recommendations for platforms, could be Instagram, could be TikTok, could be LinkedIn, could be, depending on
we've
your
had, depending on the alignment, we've had coaches who, like Joy, she's rocked it on LinkedIn. We have a couple people, Robert and Chris, who just
Reels and TikTok.
crushes it on TikTok. So it's really, it goes back to the alignment of like, where's your people and where do you like to be? Oh, so as you're writing an alignment, there you go. So alignment, it's really like, it's also where are the blind spots that have been holding you back? What are those things that you haven't been able to see? That's what like Sarah was saying, like I had no idea what the Akashic records are. Shoot, my battery.
I'm going to also communicate to our phase 2 people. That we're gonna be a
Actually,
few
can you help me
minutes
with
late.
battery while I do this? It's not going to reach from over there. That's why I said, can you help me? And I give it to you. I love you. Thank you. All right. So, the purpose, one of the ways that you can use the Akashic records is, the Akashic records is really tapping into your energetic fields. Energy never dies. It leaves like a resonance, which is also like the Akashic records. So I'm a level 3 practitioner. It's one of my favorite parts about our program of where we're very unique is we use the Akashic records to find these misalignments and find these blind spots, and things can come up that people are like, oh my gosh, I don't even know. Like, I didn't even think about that happened. And that's like the purpose of here. And so we're able to clear them energetically, but also create like action steps in our life to stop patterns that we didn't even know existed. Right. So it's working with alignment and being able to discover these blind spots of why things haven't been working. So that's a big part of the work that we do here. And then, so rate yourself, green, we have Grello again. I love that. So just rate yourself there. If you feel like you have tools that can bring you back into alignment at any time, that would be green. A yellow would be like, for the most, sometimes there's still some things that come up. I'm a human, like Grello, like you said, that's perfect. And red is like, I do not know what is going on. I know there's a block somewhere. I know there's like something happening. I'm doing the things and it's not working. Then that would be a red.
All right. So next is leverage. This is like green. In this, it's like you're having, automation. Maybe you have a list. You are, maybe even you're starting to run ads. You're using funnels. You're doing this, something like that, where you have like systems in your business. Yellow is like maybe you have a calendar where when you send a link to somebody and they book, they get follow-ups, they get text, they get that type of stuff. Maybe you do Zoom meetings like this one where Zoom reminds you that you need to be at a training and all of that stuff. And then red is like you have what is it called? No technology, no anything that's supporting you in taking things off your plate that you don't necessarily need to do. So rate yourself on green, yellow, and red on leverage. And meanwhile, so we're going to run a little bit over. We have a few of our clients that just jumped on that we want to kind of share their experience in the program with you. Is everybody cool with hanging out and listening to see, what their transformation's like and what kind of results that they've generated?
Invitation too.
Yep. Oh, yeah. Aston, why don't you drop a link to book? So if anybody's on here and you're like, I just want to book a call with you, like, damn it.
You're seeing the red, you're seeing the Grello, you're seeing the different colors. Like, let's get to green. Let's have a conversation. What does this look like? We're going to drop a link in the comments where you can just click on that while you're listening to some of the people that are coming on as well. And let's just have a conversation. Again, there's no sales here in this first call. It's just a conversation. It's really no sales ever, unless no sales ever, right? You're selling. We just showed you the way. You're going to experience the way, right? Because we do what we teach, and we everything that works is what we teach others, and we do it ourselves. Awesome. So Bethany, appreciate you. Click that link, and if you want to fill it out later and you're gotta go, that's totally cool. Just yeah. Cool. So who wants to jump in first? I know Frederick showed up. Was first. Frederick's here. Joy. Appreciate you guys. Yeah, thank you. I kind of moved our coaching call here, so they kind of had to. I'm just kidding. Joy, you're on you have camera on, so if you want to jump in.
Yeah. What do you want from me? How can I help everybody?
Yeah, so why don't you explain your experience with this process and like getting to green and like what was your where were you when you first started with us and what's kind of happened since?
Man, I was such a mess. I like cried on my sales call and everything. I was like, I just need help because I've been a single mom with 3 kids and I don't have other options. So I'm like, it's either like I have to make this work or I don't know, we all crash and burn or something. So Chad was so helpful for me, even in the sales call. I mean, it truly wasn't a sales call. I was like, golly, am I being interviewed for this or what? But because, they screen who comes in. But yeah, I started out, I mean, I was doing okay-ish. I was making like enough money, barely, but I really wasn't making the impact that I wanted to make. And I needed someone to hold my hand through the process because quite honestly, there's a lot of free stuff out there. And I was like years like trying to fill the gaps with all the different ideas, but it was just completely overwhelming me and hurting me because I wasn't really able to hone in on anything. So when I got into the program, the first couple months was like my brain was just expanding with this track. And I'm kind of like, okay, well, ADHD brain, like entrepreneurial ADHD, you're kind of all over the place. Oh, I could do this, I do that. And this is like, no, we're buckling down and we're doing this for the next few months. And that was really probably the most monumental, powerful like shift besides the energy portion of it that you bring, Holly. And I came in thinking this is about my business and then got a lot of personal transformation and support, which I did not expect. So it's really holistic. And I think it took me a few months before I hit my first 5-figure month. But in the first month, I did have a 5K day. So that was exciting. And then that started becoming more regular. So
Yeah.
And now here you are having regular 5-figure months.
Right.
Multiple 5-figure months.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and how I want to talk about like how your empowered client attraction process has like shifted because we started with you on Facebook and then now you're
There was like a oh crap moment. Facebook didn't work out. And so now we got to create something else. And so, yeah, I think that's a great thing of how, when you have a process and a pathway, you can make shifts like that really quick.
Oh yeah, it really wasn't difficult to shift from like Facebook to LinkedIn. Now we're still doing Facebook, now LinkedIn, but just like before I thought, oh, I have to be everywhere. And you were like, no, just like pick one and then do that. So it's like pick one and then perfect it. And then, whoa, it's actually really easy to take this from one platform to the next. And so, yeah, it's like the systems, I'm not a systematic person. I'm an all over the place person. I don't like spreadsheets. I don't like grids. But there was something about having the grid, like this is the path. And then, okay, I'll do everything. It takes a while when you're learning a path to learn it properly. But I was like, I'm committing, like showing up to as many calls as possible. The fact that you have calls every day of the week is freaking crazy, but I showed up to all of them. I was like, I am making this happen. I'm doing everything. And then realizing I'm not doing it. I'm like kind of doing it messy, but that's okay. And you guys really walking me through the process of it, like, oh, like, yeah, you're perfecting this. This is like the natural, like, you're not going to get everything immediately and it's not going to manifest itself immediately. You have to like build towards it. So.
Yeah. So if anybody's here that's like on the fence of like working with us or even jumping on a call, what would you tell them? Okay,
well, probably almost everybody's is going to be money. And I'll just say that if you all don't have, or, where I was before, like I said, single mom, no financial backing, I got to make this happen or else. However, I also was in business for 2 years before that and wasted a lot of time trying to figure out the processes myself. And I could have been making money the whole time, like the kind of money I really wanted the whole time, if I had just been like, okay, I'm going to take the leap financially, but I didn't for so long. So that's probably my one regret, is not just spending the money first. I made my money back in the first few weeks.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's awesome.
I'd love to see you grow.
Thank you so much.
All of like
complete transformation.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Awesome. So we'll move on to Frederick, and if he's here, or
Frederick, you here?
I know Regina just popped in, and I thought is Bethany, are you? I know you're watching we're watching the thing. I popped the link if you want to jump on.
And then meanwhile, if you're seeing this and you're like, all right, let's just have a conversation. This sounds amazing. see where it goes from here. There is a link in the chat. Just go ahead and click that link. Let's book a call and just talk.
Regina, are you here? Do you want to share your experience since you've been in the program?
By the time I filled out the booking, the calls, but I lost
They're going so fast.
Hurry,
Hey,
book
Alyssa.
now before.
So-
Hey guys.
Yeah, so I just want to acknowledge this is a really cool thing. So Alyssa's here. Alyssa's a team member slash partner of Regina. And so when you're part of our phase 2 program, your team gets to come to the calls. So they're
the
expecting to be on a
calls.
coaching
So-
call. We're hijacking them into this
They're
call.
training.
It's all good. So talk about the experience of being in the program and what you've discovered.
So being in the program, like walking into the program, I had like 0 Facebook following or just minimal Facebook following. And you guys have like really just walked me through like the whole process and how to create your group and get clients right away. I had a potential client like within 2 days of being in the program, and creating that group and getting people into your group. And I mean, every single step. And then the support is unprecedented. It's really like welcoming. And then also something that I, am really thankful for is just conquering those limiting beliefs and getting rid of all of that other stuff that comes along with opening up your own business that comes up naturally. So it's been really amazing.
Yeah, it's been really amazing to watch you like come from like, okay, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like Messenger, how do I set that up? To
Yeah, I agree. What do I say? I don't even know what to say.
like how you're flourishing and even your posts and like the level of your posts and the content. Great job. Like I really acknowledge you, the progress that you're making. It's awesome.
Thank you.
For sure. For sure.
Awesome. Congratulations. Frederick, did you pop back? All right. I guess we'll just call it, right?
Frederick's a homeschool dad and real powerful leader as well. So all is well.
Stan, you want to drop another link for everybody else? And
This has been amazing. I hope you've gotten a lot of value, that you've gotten to see not just the process of what it's going to take for you to really put this all together.
oh, here comes Bethany.
Here's Bethany. But wait,
But wait,
there's
there's more.
you got to hear from Bethany, because Bethany is just an incredible powerhouse. She's also, she was here.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
there
there.
she is. Okay. I know she had a resistance to social media for a little bit as well, but I'm going to let her talk a little bit. Thank you so much, Bethany. I know you had a client and some other things. You're a busy woman, for hopping on.
I think you're muted.
Yeah, you are muted.
Okay, there we go.
There we go.
Thank you for having me. And actually, I have been on and off trying to listen while I'm working away, but a really great testimony. I have had huge resistance to social media. I hire someone to do it, and I don't even want to read what they write. Like I don't want to, or I didn't want to touch it. And now it's like I can't stop writing content. I can't stop. I love to do videos. So I think today I've done 4 or 5 videos, and yesterday 2 or 3. So yeah, the work works. And that is a really big thank you both to what Chad and Holly teach, but also, the healing work that can come from this program. So I'm thrilled. It's already working. I started a new page to bring everybody to get a cold market, a warm market. I haven't even invited anybody yet. Don't even have the page finished, and I have at least 10 people that have joined. And when you're in the midst of working on something, I think that's pretty decent when you haven't even let anybody know it's there. So that's pretty exciting. Yeah. Is there something else you want me to specifically speak
Yeah,
to?
I guess if anybody's on the fence, like what would you like of like either booking a call or working with us, what would you tell them?
So I would say, first of all, every coach needs a coach. I teach that to my own coaches, and I've worked with a lot of coaches, and they've all been great. But one thing that you're going to find missing often, most often, always for me until I met Holly and Chad, is the systems piece of it. You'll receive the coaching, you'll receive the healing, which all coaches bring, right? That's our intention in life. But you get to learn how to create systems in a way that brings and attracts your people. And I have been looking for that for a very, very long time. I've been a coach since 2010. And I've always said I just keep throwing spaghetti at the wall. And while I have a successful business, and I'm super grateful that I do, I am learning things that I wish I would have learned anywhere along the way. And I'm super grateful. This is not easy to come by. It
Awesome.
is not. So
Thank
thank you.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Frederick, you back?
I'm back.
Welcome back, man. So you've been here for what happened? How did Mark get on? There you are. So if you tell your experience, where were you when you first started? What's your been experience since you've been in the program?
Frederick's an OG around here.
I'm sorry.
We love you.
Oh, thank you. I'm sorry. My little one is yelling at me. So one more time, ask the question again.
So what was your experience where were you when you first started, and where have you been? Like, talk about the experience of being here and being in the program.
So for me, when I magically discovered you all, because we often joke, and I would say, I don't even remember how I got on a call, how I got in the program. It's like I was magically here. But I was really stuck, struggling, was going through a tough time financially and really trying to figure out the business end of the coaching, because I had transitioned from having a marketing agency to coaching. But a lot of the things that I was doing in marketing were very old school, intuitive. I learned some things, but I didn't know how to translate it to getting clients for myself. So I was very confused, frustrated, and definitely just trying to figure it out under a lot of pressure to make things happen. With the family, we're in transition. It was right before the pandemic, or as the pandemic was hitting. And so I was, trying to make the pivot. I had just written a book. I just released a book. I had a national book tour scheduled that just evaporated overnight. And so was trying to figure out, man, all right, how do I pivot, make this thing work? Because all the things that I put into place, now all that stuff was gone. And so the only thing left was finding people online. And so that was a challenge for me.
And what were you able to learn and implement since you've been here?
One of the biggest things I learned was that we have the ability to attract the people that we want. We can charge more. I learned that I didn't have to coach people for free, which is what I was doing a lot of times, but that even in the sales process, and in this program, we don't teach selling, it's qualifying people. But I learned that even in selling or qualifying people, you can serve them powerfully, simply because you are empowering them to make decisions by doing things for them that no one else does. It doesn't have to be high pressure. It doesn't have to be pushing people. It doesn't have to be like you're out here pitching yourself. I learned how to be able to take content that I'm writing, but able to use it to specifically attract people that I wanted to be able to attract into my program, to be able to serve them even better. I learned how to push the wrong people away so that they know that it's not for them. So I can show up not just powerfully, but as in the way that I am most designed to do. And I think that everybody has their own unique way to shine their light. But for me, it was really, really important to be able to do that, because the more authentically that we feel that we are able to show up, the less restrictions and resistance we'll have to doing that. So I think a lot of us feel like it's not really me. That's you're adopting somebody else's persona or their own framework, whatever the case may be. And for me, I was able to start crafting my own identity and really showing up more powerfully as a leader, because this is who I am. And the great thing about Chad and Holly is that they they allow you and really guide you into being who you are most powerfully. So it's not just you, but it's the most powerful version of you.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
So if anybody's was on the fence of working with us, or even at least booking a call, what would you tell them?
Well, I would say, first of all, book a call with Chad and Holly, because even booking the call will allow you to be able to understand where your resistance is. Because at the end of the day, I know that they only want to work with people and empower them that want to be here, but also they just want to serve you. And full transparency, I have come on as one of the support coaches to work with people as well. And even from this side of it, I've come to understand that just booking the call will help you to get clearer on where you need to go from here. So there's nothing to lose from there. Yes, here's my little one.
Charlie's not on here today, maybe in a little bit.
She's looking for her friend Charlie. But and I would say there's another reason too, is because I mean there are times when we'll be on calls and we'll all have our kids. We've got dogs, we've got cats. People have their family members or whatever. Like it's an environment where you can learn that it's not about pushing out all the other things, but it's inviting everything in that's a part of you and who you are, and allowing you to kind of incorporate that, so you can attract and help people as well.
Yeah.
So I say get off the fence. The fence is no place for a leader.
Yes. Agreed.
Awesome. Awesome. So book the call. See you on your call. Appreciate everyone. Thank you so much for everybody that's in phase 2. If you want to just go back to the normal line, and we'll see you there. Thank you so much.
Talk to you guys soon. You're amazing. Thanks.
Bye.